Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today my question for you is, what is your least favorite Tom Baker season? Not necessarily the one you think is the worst, but just your least favorite. Because I don't think those are necessarily the same thing. I think you can look at and say there is an objective worst one or weakest one, which at the same time might not be just your personal least favorite. Now, I love all of Tom Baker's seasons. I think all 7 seasons are good, or great even, but there are some I like more than others. And the reason why I say least favorite over necessarily objective weakest is I know my least favorite, or the one I'm starting to think, at least currently, is my least favorite, I would certainly not call objectively the weakest. And for me, that's season 14. I'm going to pause for a second to give y'all a chance to pick yourselves up off the ground. You know, I'm sure some of you may have tripped over the ground. Some of you may have fell out of your chairs. Give you a second to pick yourself up there. Because I'm sure most people were expecting a Williams season. I can understand that. But I don't know. I just find season 14 more disappointing being part of the, legendary Hinchcliffe era. Because I love season 12 and 13. I think seasons 12 and 13 are the best 2 seasons the show has ever done. And probably my 2 favorite seasons of the show. 14 is just very disappointing for me. I like Mask of Mandragora. I think it's underrated and deserves more credit. But I don't really care for Hand of Fear. I just don't get into that one, especially that 4th episode just kind of pulls it down. Just as a whole, though, I don't really get into it. It's good for the first 3 episodes, but that last episode being so bad just kind of pulls it down for me. A Deadly Assassin is fine in a bubble, but I don't like what it does to the lore, and plus some of the set design just doesn't quite work for me in it. So it's a bit of an I don't want to say an anticlimax isn't the right word, but I don't quite have the love for it some people do. I like Face of Evil. That one's an underrated one. Robots of Death, I've talked about so many times on the channel. I love the designs. I love the set design, and I love the robot work. The costumes for the robots are fantastic, but the story doesn't do anything for me. It does not hold any flair for me. I get kind of bored watching it, actually. And then you have Talons, which I love, but Talons is probably the only what I'd call masterpiece of the season. There's basically 2 stories I find underrated and good, 1 masterpiece, and then 3 stories that are just overrated for me. Matter of fact, the 2 most overrated stories in classic Doctor Who for me, both of them come from this season with Deadly Assassin and Robots of Death. And so I find the season a bit disappointing. I mean, I love Talons. Talons is great. It's Tom's best season finale, but Talons can't carry the whole season. Whereas other seasons have more stuff I like. Like a lot of people would probably say season 17. I could see season 17 being a popular choice here. I like season 17. All the stories to one degree or another. I mean, Nightmare of Eden is probably the weakest for me, but I still find it an enjoyable watch for every now and then. Horns of Nimon I just love because it's silly camp. Once you embrace Horns of Nimon for what it is, you can have so much fun with it. I like Creature from the Pit. I think it's underrated. I think it loses its way in episode 4. Kind of like Hand of Fear, but I still like Creature from the Pit better than Hand of Fear. But kind of like Hand of Fear, it does. Those first 7 episodes of episode 4 of Creature from the Pit are amazing. Some of Tom Baker's best screen time, honestly. But once the lady Andrasta dies, or Andrasta, or whatever her name is, it just kind of gets uninteresting and falls apart. But I still enjoy the story as a whole. Plus, I love the jungle set. Plus, I like Myra playing Lady Andrasta. She's really good. And I like Romana in this. I really like Romana. She's a little more like Romana 1 here, but I like that. And then you have Destiny of the Daleks, which is a fun watch. I like Destiny of the Daleks. It's not the best budget-wise, let's be honest, but it's fun enough, and I enjoy it. And then you have Shada and City of Death, which I love. City of Death's my favorite Doctor Who story. So I feel like I enjoy season 17 more overall from a personal satisfaction standpoint than I do 14. 15 is the one that comes kind of close. 15 might be second from the bottom. But, I love Horror of Fang Rock. I do. I love Horror of Fang Rock. It's so good. That's the masterpiece of the season. Invisible Enemy, I'm not too keen on, to be fair. I like Image of the Fendal. It has its flaws, but I do enjoy it. I love the Sunmakers. I very much love the Sunmakers. Great satire from Robert Holmes. I like Underworld. I find Underworld underrated. Yes, the CSO in the caves is a bit naffed, but the model work is some of the best model work in all of classic Doctor Who in the bookending episodes, and I find the story fun. And then you have Invasion of Time, which, okay, is a bit of a letdown. It doesn't work very well as a season finale, and the original effects are rubbish. But the updated effects from the DVD that are also on the Blu-ray box set do help it. I do feel like they help, especially giving the Vardens a look that's not just completely laughable, to be honest. So the updated effects do help carry it a little bit, in my opinion. So I feel like, even though I'm not too keen on the Invasion of Time and the Invisible Enemy, the other stories are carrying it a little more overall than 14 is. And then 16 I just like. You know, certain squid-based story aside, which we know that I'm not enamored with. Other than that, I like all of the stories to one degree or another. You guys know I love the Reboss Operation and the Pirate Planet. They're two of my favorite Tom Baker stories. They're fantastic. Stones of Blood is good. I mean, unlike most people, I'm the oddball in that I like the more sci-fi elements on the ship in hyperspace that take place in the second half of the story. I know that's not a popular opinion, but I do. But I still enjoy the first half with all the kind of horror, cultist vibe stuff going on, too. Androids of Tara is an odd one for me, because it just depends on which watch-through I'm on. Like, sometimes I really like Androids of Tara, and other times I'm just kind of on it. But it's certainly not bad. And I'm never disappointed with it. It's fine. And then I find the Armageddon Factor underrated. I like it. It runs a little long at 6 parts. And I don't like K9 being reprogrammed, which is just kind of weird. And the guy playing the Shadows hamming it up a bit. But I enjoy the Armageddon Factor overall. And I don't like Drax. But overall, I find it an enjoyable story. So once again, you have 6 stories, and only one of them I really have an issue with. I like the other 6 to some degree or another. Which is more than Season 14. And then, of course, I like Season 18. I've talked about Season 18. Really, the only bad story in Season 18 is The Leisure Hive, which is still watchable. The Leisure Hive is probably my second least favorite Tom Baker story. But it's watchable. And I enjoy the rest of the season to varying degrees. So it's Season 14, more and more, I'm just coming to realize that there's just not as much going for it. Especially being a huge disappointment coming off Seasons 12 and 13. Because I love Talons. I like Face of Evil. I like Mask of Mandraga. But those are really the only 3 that I really just would call great. The others are good. Robots of Death is good, but it's more because of the design choices than the story. Deadly Assassin is good, but I don't like what it does to the lore overall. And Hand of Fear, I don't really care for, to be honest. So, yeah, right now, if I was to choose my least favorite Tom Baker story, or least favorite Tom Baker season, it'd be Season 14 for me. And that's an odd choice. I'll let you pick yourselves up off the ground again. I know that's not a popular choice, but right now, looking at it, I don't necessarily think it's objectively the weakest. I don't think that. That's a whole nother video. But it is probably, at least currently, my least favorite Tom Baker story. And since that's such a hot take, really, I guess, it seemed video worthy to me. I want to know what you think of my choice and my reasoning behind it. And I want to know what your least favorite Tom Baker season is. So comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. I do want to give a shout out to Sam and Colin Coney, 2 of my top tier patrons. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. It's very much appreciated. All the other fun stuff down in the videos, links to the Amazon wishlist, the Amazon UK wishlist, the P.O. Box, all that fun stuff. Most importantly, thank you for watching.